Hey, here we are back inside MatrixGold once again. Thanks for tuning in. Hope the videos are helping in your designing process. If they are, please go ahead and smash that subscription, tap on that notification bell, leave me a like, drop me a comment, good, bad, or indifferent, doesn't matter. It's okay. If there's anything else you'd like to see more about, drop that in there as well. If there's other things that you can think of that I didn't add into the video that'd be useful to the viewers, please drop those in as well. Also, if you'd like to share the content, I really appreciate that. And down around here, there's a super thanks button. If you'd like to donate some coffee to the cause, you can do that as well. Today, we're going to continue on, except now we're going to kind of switch over just a little bit to surfaces, because that's what MatrixGold is all about. How to design jewelry and items, and not just jewelry. You could design pretty much anything you want using surfaces. So what we need to do is we first there's a when I first attended my first in-house school or meeting or whatever you want to say at the location where Jim Vision taught. One of the teachers told me something that I never forgot since I started Matrix over 20 years ago. And that was once you start looking at things and how to design it, you'll never see them the same way. And what I mean by that is if you have there's a pole or anything, you can take a cell phone, a cup, a pencil. And if you cut it in half, you're going to see that it has height, width, and depth, right? And that's what we need. If we just draw a plane out there, this is just a plane, right? It has width and depth, right? It has length and width, but it doesn't have any depth. We need depth. So we need those three, right? This here, that there, and then that's when you hear watertight all the time. So when you click on it over here, it says closed poly surface. That's what you want. So if I click this, you can see it says just a planar surface, meaning it's an open, there's nothing there, right? So we need that depth. We need that thickness, because everything, even a piece of paper, has thickness, although it's very, very thin. We still have thickness. And actually there's a video on prong sizes and channel depth and thicknesses of how to print things. I'll try to attach to this series in the next video. It's already up on YouTube. Just type in printing, I think, in my search on my channel, and it should pop up. But it'll have thicknesses of prongs, channels, how far things need to be off the ring rail, all kinds of information in there that might be useful to many of you. So what we need is height, depth, and thickness, right? So I'm going to just reset this. And how do we do that? Well, we could do it with just drawing surfaces like we just did. There's all kinds of ways to do that. But usually we start with curves, whether it be in our tools menu with a ring rail and then an outside ring rail and adding a profile and sweeping it, which we'll get into a little bit later. I thought we'd just jump ahead a little bit, so sorry about that. Or drawing curves out, right? And then connecting the curves to make a surface that's watertight, has height, width, and depth. So what we're going to do is we're going to create something. And I guess I should talk about this because I don't know if I did or not. But first, what we want to do is bring in something that we can model off of. So we're going to go to View. We're going to go to Background here in our View ribbon. Do the drop down. We're going to grab a picture. And right here, I just downloaded this off the internet. And I'm just going to slap that in there. Select it, go to Transform, and put it in the center. And now it's probably not in the center, or it may be. It depends on how whoever made this design added it in, right? But I'm not really concerned about that for right now. Now this, we can draw over the top of it. If we go to yellow and we go to curves and we can draw over the top of it, but it's a little harder to see, right? So we want to make this so that we can kind of see through it a little bit. And that's where these options come in very nicely, right? And these options, how do you get these options? These are all Rhino options, right? So just come down to your command line, type in options, hit enter, and you'll get the Rhino options menu, and then go down here to toolbar, click on it, and you'll see these. Just click the second one right here. See, there they go, and they're back. All right, and then what you want to do is select this, go to your properties, and go to your material here, and right here we have object transparency. So we're going to drop that object transparency down so we can maybe work over it a little bit easier and see everything. So then we're just going to click, and then we're going to, while it's still selected, we'll come down here to our ground plane, change it to that level, and then lock it, right? So now now I cannot select it. It's locked. So I can draw over it, move things around, super select things or whatever, or drag it across this way and select things, and it's not going to move, right? And that's kind of what we want. So now I'll go back to freeform. We need lines, right? So we got it, and we'll just kind of click here. And right now I have object snaps on. Maybe if you have many lines out there, it's good to turn that off to start with, or as you get more lines out there, because you don't want them snapping to the different lines that you don't want. It makes it more difficult. So just turn that off for the first one, and you can always turn it back on at any time, right? So I got that one out there. I'm going to right click, bring back that command, and I'll just turn on my snaps now real quick. Snap it to that, turn off my snaps because I don't want it to keep snapping over here maybe, and we'll just draw something along here. And as you notice, I'm not selecting those. If you wanted a solid piece, there's another way we could do that, raster to vector, but we'll get into that a little bit later as well. If you just wanted straight edges, and then trying to manipulate it from there. And actually, I didn't snap those together, so I'm just going to go ahead and select that curve by left clicking and then going to the left, right? If I go to the right, I have to select the entire thing. If I go to the left, I can just click one little piece of it. And I'll turn on points real quick, and I'll just select this point, go to move with my snaps on now, because it'll snap right to that point, because if I have points, it'll snap right there, and I can just move it over there, right? And I can move this one around if I wanted to. I can select both those. Well, both points aren't on. Let's select both lines, turn on points. Now I can select both those points and just kind of drag it up, and I can start to manipulate, however, just selecting each one of these points and moving them around to get it wherever I want. I'm not really going to worry about that right now at this point. But as you can see, if I turn on the points again, there's an awful lot of points out there, right? And it just makes it more difficult to manipulate when you have all these points on here. So I'm going to get rid of those. I'm going to select it all, and I'm going to type in Rebuild, rebuild, right? And now I can kind of control. I want it at a degree 3 because degree 3, it's pretty standard for most everything you design. When you get into other, there's also a video up there on degrees if you want to check that out. But really, degree 3 is probably the most that you'll use for most things. And then I can click here, and I can manipulate with my scroll button up or down how many points I want. I think, and right here, maximum deviance. That's how much those little red lines right there, it's going to change it. Those are where the points that it's changing it the most, right? So I can kind of check. Right here's a 0.15. If I put more points on it, you can see it drops all the way down to 0.47. Just get it kind of where least amount of points is always best. What's 7? 0.1. I'll just go to 0.8 or 8 points. Right now, when I turn on the points, you can see I have a lot less points to have to manipulate. Next, I'm just going to leave that there. I'll drag this one out even a little. And you get a lot smoother curve too, right? Okay. Now, here's I'm going to go ahead and hide that background for right now because we're going to start talking about surfaces and different ways to make surfaces and how to manipulate those surfaces in order to get different designs very quickly, very easily, and updatable, right? So I have these, and they are both at a point right here. They touch each other. So if I take these, hold down my alt key and hit my top arrow and just drag it, I make a duplicate of them, right? So I want to make a surface. Now here, I'm going to show you something and why. If I go to Loft here and I select the bottom one, and then this one, I want them in that order, right? And then click, I get nothing, right? And that is because they are connected. If I go to my old Loft, and click on this one, and this one, and I hit OK, I don't get a surface either. So neither one of those are really going to work for us because they are joined right here, right? Now I can select them all, go back to points, go to my top, right? Actually, I just want to select two of them. And then turn on points. And I'm just going to take this point and I'm just going to bump it over just a smidgen right there. And then I'm going to go, it says it broke history. And that's another thing we're going to talk about in this video. What it broke was the extrusion, right? It broke the extrusion on because I have record history right here, and we're going to talk about Rhino history. This is Rhino history. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and hit OK because that's fine. I don't care. And then I'm going to move this one over just a little bit as well, just so there's a little space there, right? Okay, now I'll click off both those. All right. Now, if I go to my parametric loft, because it has a flashing lightning bolt right there, it's parametric. So if I go here, 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 and right click, now I get to surface. But you can tell it's not in the order I picked. Just come over here, use curve selection order. That was the order that I picked it in. Now I have the curves with the surface there, right? It's not closed or anything yet, but basically right now we're just going to show how to manipulate it, right, in different ways. But I mean, it's easy just to right click that, go back to your parametric and that loft and just pick those two surfaces, right click, and it changed it to this color. Oh, maybe not. Oh, that loft's turned off, just show, right? And now those are, so we can take those. I don't really want to go through all this, but okay, we will. Let's go back. Let's pick our green real quick and let's just join it together. Join, right? So now the bottom and the top, and then maybe, I don't know if they're planar, we'll find out in 5 seconds, cap, right? And right click and then click on it, close polysurface. So it's got height, width, and depth, and it's a closed polysurface. We can print that, right? But what I really want to show is, we're going to go back here. I don't want to add that bottom yet. We have those lines, right? Those lines are gone now, right? It's like, oh, no. What it does in Matrix 3.10 is it switches them to this Rhino layer. So just click that on, right click on your color there, which highlights them all, and then just change them back to yellow, right? No big deal, right? Okay, so we have 4 out there. So there's 4 that we can manipulate even further, right? So if I take this curve, highlight it, and then turn on points, I can start to manipulate this curve to make different shapes, and everything updates very quickly. So if I wanted to, go up a little bit, come down, I can do all kind of manipulation with that curve, right? And if I go back, go back, oh, I think I just got rid of those curves. Let's go forward again. There's my curves. So if I take this curve here and this curve here and turn on points, now I can manipulate both those points at the same time. So I can have it swirling down over here. I can do all kind of things, right? And same thing with the bottom. Let's go ahead. Okay, let's back out of that. same thing with the bottom. If I take those, turn on points, and it's always good to have the least amount of, I can continue to manipulate this however I see fit. Okay, so that's the easiest way to do it. And actually, we need height, width, and depth, right? So another way to do it, well, we'll just wing it all here. We still have the space here, right? So we can go to our curves and we can scroll down here to where our old non-parametric curve from two views is, right? And I can click on that and I get tween curves, or I can type it in the thing, or if you click on it and drag it over here, you can just click at it on it from your quick commands area or whatever, which I do think I have it, yeah, right there. In there. So I just select this curve, and my number, I can just have 1, right? And enter, and then enter. So now I have 3, so I can take this center one up, right? And it just gives me a different way to make a different shape to do whatever I want to do, right? So I can now go back to that surface, because we need the surface. Go from here to here to here, right click, gives us a surface, change it to make sure it stays by order, and then right click, and those curves change to this color here. I'm going to go ahead and right click on that and change them back to yellow, and now I can manipulate the curve up here at the top, keeping it with different, designing, right? So that is another way to create the surface. So let's go back, and let's go back. Okay, and back one more. There we go. So we get all 4 curves out there, and they still have the space. You can also do it with the tween curves, right? So we can go to our curves menu, scroll down here to the old from two views, do the drop down, get it from there. I'll just grab it from here, go from here to here, and then come down here and say, okay, I want to really change this curve up. So I'm going to put 3 in there, okay? And then hit enter. Now it's going to give me 3 curves, right? I'm just going to do this one side. You can do it to both or whatever, however you're wanting to really lay something out. And now when I go back to that surface, right, and go to the loft, I can click on this, that, and then the one on the back side there, right click, and then again change it to the curves that I selected, right click, and again it says that those curves were switched to this layer, so I'm going to right click those curves and change them to yellow. And now what I can do is go in here and start to make all kind of indentations or bulges or different types of design, right, going around. And as you can see, it's kind of sharp right there, but if you take that one and just drag the whole curve up, you can see you're getting different shapes as well, right? So it depends on how you want to manipulate that. It just, I guess, really depends, right? All right, so you can really start to get all kind of really crazy shapes. Okay, so that's kind of loft and point editing a little bit for the curves and the surfaces on this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this, because we're going to look at another command here real quick that is really cool. I really like this command, and I think it's appreciated and underused, but we'll go ahead and grab this, and again I'll go to my move, because I want to move this back to that point. Now they're connected, right? And I'm going to select this one here, right click, and move that back to that. And my end snaps are on. I still have record history, right? And I'll remind me to go back to record history, because there's something that probably should show you. Well, actually, I'll try and do it here. Okay, right now we have record history on. Okay, so let's say that we didn't know it was turned off, or you turned it off, or you want it off. Let's go in here and grab a curve. This is Rhino history again. It's not going to affect our parametric commands. This is just Rhino history, okay? There's a little difference. And sometimes it's good to have this off while you're designing on certain things, but most of the time it's probably recommended to just leave it on. You can cancel out a parametric history by just turning off the lightning bolt over there. So, but anyway, I'm digressing here. We want to add now we need height, right? So another way to do that is we can go to our arc direction. We can go to our arc, and right here I'm going to hit planar, because planar will give me a straight curve, right? It's not going to be very difficult to lay it out. So I'm just going to lay it out here. I'm going to go over here, hold down right, and you can see it just laid it out nicely for me, right? On that curve straight up. So now what I can do, since these points are, these things are connected, right? We weren't able to use loft, right? But we can go in here to surface and we can do curve network. And it says select all our curves in our network, and we have record history off. So I select them all, and then I got me a nice little surface that goes down to a point here, right? And if I wanted to manipulate it, I turn on that, go to select this and turn on my points, and if I want to manipulate it I can't, right? And the reason being is because I have that record history turned off. So let's go back a couple steps. All right here, and turn those points off. And now let's turn on record history and select all that and go to our curve network and click on that, and then change that to green so we can see those curves better. And now when I go to this curve, turn on points, select those three at the top right there, bump them up, I can start to, not only, they don't have to be confined to that rail anymore because we're on curve network. So you get a lot more, I guess, options, so you can really start to do some crazy things, right? Which is really cool. I really like this command. But anyway, let's go back a couple again. Okay, I think that's, let's get rid of that surface. Okay. And we have that. And as you can see, it automatically comes with a set amount of points. Again, we can go in here, click on that. If you want more options, type in rebuild. And this time, you know, I always say lower is better. Well, sometimes maybe you want to add, you know, so you can have more control over it. So here, this one has 8. Let's put 11 on there and click enter. Now, when I click on that, you can see that it has a lot more points. So I'm going to select all those, go to curve network, click on that surface. We'll change that to green so we can see those yellow curves very easily. Now this time we're going to click on it and we're going to select points, and we can start to really change this thing up like crazy. Maybe we want this point coming down and in a little bit. Maybe we want this point coming out a little bit. So you can see that we have crazy control over it, right? You can even go in there, let's curve point, and maybe you want to just delete one. You know, it's no big deal. Just select it and delete it. But you can see that you have a lot more options to be able to create crazier designs very, very quickly, and everything's updating so you can kind of see what's going on with it. So remember, record history, because sometimes you want to move things around that you don't want to update at certain areas and points, and we'll go into that a little bit later when we start going into our ring rails and how to design certain layouts. But as you can see, those two ways with the loft and our curve network, we have many different options that we can really play around with. And you could add multiple, you know, profiles in there to manipulate it even further. The fewer is usually better because then it gets to be a little but it really depends on what you're wanting. So hopefully this video kind of helps a little bit with loft and curve network. But as you can see, my lines are here, right? And right now they're on the lines, but I could select those and I could drag them apart, and it's going to update even more. It doesn't have to be exactly on that surface there, or that edge there. It's going to go ahead and update accordingly. Now that's a little off our plane, I think. Kind of looks like, yeah. So, you know, you have to be a little careful with that, because if you wanted to close it off, well, I just deleted it. If you want to close it off, you could go to your right click. Now we have that, right? Click that, join together, and we have a closed surface, right? Yeah. And take that, turn it to green, and give it some shading there. So there's lots of ways to manipulate it how you see fit. Now we've got a closed surface, so that'll print up watertight. All right, so hopefully this kind of gives you a little different idea of how to go about drawing stuff like this out. And maybe in the next video, or I'll come back and I'll just go ahead and draw it all out and show another command that we can make a ring with it, or a certain design. So thanks for watching, good designing, and see you next time.